The wait is over for Season 3 of the AMC and AMC Plus Western noir series Dark Winds. And because of the popularity of the show, they've added more episodes. Can the season maintain the suspense and intrigue it's known for, though? Leaphorn and Chee investigate the disappearance of two boys, with only an abandoned bicycle and a blood-stained patch of ground left in their wake. Meanwhile, Bernadette attempts to settle into her new life 500 miles from home with the Border Patrol, but stumbles across a conspiracy involving possible human and drug smuggling with far-reaching implications. Okay, so I've seen the first 6 out of 8 episodes of this, and the intensity of the show is almost non-stop this season. The story picks up about 6 months after Season 2 ended, and now we get to watch how Bernadette is coping with her new gig at the Border Patrol. She's forging new friendships, but also with her investigative eye, she notices oddities that lead her down a potentially dangerous path. And when the season opens, Leaphorn is experiencing something very freaky and odd. I love how this imagery we see right from the start continues in different ways throughout the episodes, but with growing meaning and understanding. There's a bunch of the Dene beliefs intertwined, and for someone who isn't familiar with these, we get good explanation without it being forced or awkward. There are moments when Leaphorn is looking for an explanation, which is then used to provide context and meaning to those of us who are ignorant of any of the spiritual symbolism or beliefs that are shown. Zahn McClarnon continues to be a powerhouse figure in this series. His quiet demeanor hides some of the ferocity that his character possesses. And the season works to tie in storylines from the previous seasons, interconnecting the stories in ways that have very dramatic consequences for the present. And don't worry, you don't have to have all of the other episodes fresh in your mind to get the context here. The connections are simple, but still pack a huge emotional punch. We get some guest stars this season, and at least one who's been on before, but each of them add to the tension and drama of the story. Jenna Elfman is present through a lot of this season, playing an FBI agent working on a case involving a body that was found in the desert. Now, it took me a moment to recognize her, but I was enjoying the strained and uncomfortable interactions that her character has with Leaphorn. There's animosity that we can see, but it's also fun to watch the characters attempt to hide it through professionalism. But we get to watch the facial expressions that let us in on the truth. Jerry Ryan also returns for a bit, playing a cranky and demanding widow. Bruce Greenwood has a small recurring role, and so far, he's playing the character excellently as a helpful but sketchy, mysterious businessman. He's one of those that looks like he wants to assist law enforcement in any way possible, but also feels as though he's scheming in the background because he might really be a villain. There's also a great cameo that was just a huge surprise. Now for this season, we get a bunch of dreamlike sequences where Leaphorn is trying to figure out some puzzle and mystery. It's a mixture of flashbacks, morphing locations, childhood trauma, and a riddle that his mind is struggling to solve. These moments sometimes make it difficult to know where we are in the story or the timeline, but through these, we get so much backstory on Leaphorn himself. I appreciate how the show also uses this opportunity to provide real-life history of some of the atrocities that were perpetrated on the Dene and probably all of the other indigenous people. Now, one episode is almost entirely a dream sequence. It's got a driving pace to it, even though the storytelling isn't rushed. We get to see some freaky images, too. These monster-like presences that look kind of like a mixture of a Dementor and a werewolf. And the costume design is awesome, but I'd never want to encounter them whether it was dark or light outside. I think for one of the story arcs involving Bernadette, the misdirection and the plot twist, could be obvious. And because I haven't seen the final 2 episodes, the possibility does exist that something the setup is hinting at is just a ruse to make us think it's going one way and then will surprise us with a completely different reveal. If it doesn't, it's unfortunate because as it stands right now, there won't be any surprise contained within this portion. Now, the themes this season focuses on are grief, guilt, and reconciliation. They intertwine themselves well throughout the story arcs. Leaphorn is working through all 3 of these, and thanks to some revelations, he's facing even more hardship than he anticipated. And the investigations that Jenna Elfman is heading up stir up emotions for many of the Navajo Nation, retreading on old wounds from when Leaphorn's son was killed at the mine. And I appreciate, too, how Chee and Bernadette have this strained relationship, and they struggle to exist as friends or colleagues just thanks to their past involvement and feelings. And then, Leaphorn, through some of his dreams and visions, he gets some incredible insight into the emotions that he's feeling and how they can complement or harm his relationships and career. Now, I'm still enamored with the production for this show. I mean, it certainly has the feel of the 70s and all of the aesthetics match. I also love how, because of the lack of technology and connectivity, the stakes become dire, especially when out in the middle of the desert or the mountains. The peril the characters face is palpable, and it adds wonderful suspense to the storytelling. Also, the landscapes we're shown are simultaneously beautiful and treacherous, with deep canyons, gnarled trees, and then brilliantly lit sunsets. And these work to build loneliness as well as scale, showing the vast amount of ground where somebody could be missing or hiding. And these by themselves, they don't mean much, but when combined with the characters and the pursuits, the environments become part of the character pool, becoming an ally to some and an adversary to others. So overall, Season 3 is a stellar addition to the series, adding in more spirituality, Dene beliefs, and of course some great mystery. With unsettling visuals, this season ventures a bit into the horror genre, showcasing creatures or beings that are freaky and brutal. While the relationships and plot intrigue make for engaging watching, Zahn McClarnon creates a gripping and flawed lead character that propels the series from good to great. Some elements are more obvious than they should be, reducing some of the mystery, but the urgent pursuits and dire situations are going to keep you hooked. I am really excited to see the final 2 episodes. Short of them really fumbling the ending, this might be the best season yet. There's no sexual nudity, a lot of profanity, and a bunch of violence. I'm going to go ahead and give Season 3 a rating because I don't think they're going to screw up at the last moment. I give Dark Winds 4 out of 5 couches. So are you a fan of this show? I mean, I think you would be since you're watching a review of the 3rd season. Regardless, though, who's your favorite character? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for couching with me.